And it looks like we're going to get the Yamato Cohen game.
Yep, looks like it. Very exciting. I would love to watch Yamato play a game. He is really just one of the most exciting players to watch, just because it's like, Yamato. This guy is just a legend. He's got an aura about him.
Yeah, he's definitely a fan favorite across, like, throughout the years. You could not even hear about him for a year, and then come Worlds, boom, instant fan favorite. And everyone just remembers his 2004 World Championship, how he just kind of took everyone, his team just took everyone on surprise with that Magma deck.
Yeah. And, I mean, he comes back. I think the reason people love him so much is he spends so much time with all of his fans. He'll come here every year after the tournament, and he'll just sit in the open gaming area, and he'll play against any person who just wants to sit down and play against him. And he'll sit here for hours and hours and hours until the wee hours of the morning. I'm like, I don't understand how this guy has so much energy to keep playing, but he always does it, and he always has a smile on his face, and he loves to meet new people. It's just a great ambassador for the game.
Yeah, his love for the game is, I think, is what keeps him going. When you like doing something so much, and you kind of feel tired, it kind of squeezes that little extra energy out just to keep going until the wee hours of the night. So,
so we're just gonna get these players going again for round 2. All right, so they're gonna set up here. Oh, the camera got bumped a little. I think it'll be all right though.
Yeah, it should be fine.
David Cohen on the left. We'll see if Yamato's name fits in this line.
And it fits.
Barely, all right.
Just barely.
See if I can just... Good enough. All right. So, this will be to decide who advances first from this group. David Cohen, he won a fairly uneventful game. But now we have Yamato. This guy is just such a legendary player. He went undefeated at Worlds 04. He's made it back to the top 4 at Worlds at least one more time. He seems to grind in almost every year. He was one game away from grinding in this year. He unfortunately lost to Aaron Curry at the last run of the grinder, but hey, he's always a pleasure to watch. He's a great player. He always comes up with some innovative stuff too.
Yeah, I believe he was running CMT during the grinder.
Yeah.
But I heard if he had made it in, he would have switched to something else.
Oh, really?
So that's a little interesting tidbit, and maybe we'll see what he had in mind.
And he's got some sweet-looking Cynthia sleeves out there. Haven't seen those before.
So we did see I did see a Shaymin when he was just shuffling right there.
Yeah.
Wonder what it is.
Not too sure. So this is really cool to watch. I mean, of course, I've mentioned it like 20 times, but David is last year's world champion. But it's kind of like old school versus new school. Yamato, he's the old school player. He's been around forever. David, he's kind of a newer player on the scene. So it's like 04 world champ versus 2011 world champ. Who's going to come out on top? For the loser. The losers of this match,
Losers match.
Sorry, I was talking to Ben Potter, who just distracted me horribly.
The
loser of the players who are 0-1, those 2 players will be eliminated. So 2 of these 4 players will be eliminated. Tom Dozel, Sammy Sakum, Essa Yuntunen, Jason Kozinski. 2 of those 4 players are being eliminated right off the bat.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a harsh format, but, the alternative is like, what, single elimination, and we see 3 games? Something like that? Yeah. So this way we get to squeeze the games out of them.
Yeah. Now, of course, we are only streaming 1 match, but the other 3 are being recorded. Let's see, we have Tom Dozel versus Sammy Sakum that's being streamed right now live on twitch.tv/cardleaders if you want to check that one out. The other 2 matches are being recorded. They'll be uploaded later. We can't really stream all of them at once, I apologize, but those are where you can watch all of them later. We'll upload them to YouTube. We have gotten started. Is that a Sneasel?
That is a Sneasel. Do you think he's playing that Weavile deck that we kind of looked into at Nationals? A little rundown on that deck is it basically just tried to lock you in with Weavils and Crushing Hammer and Loss Removers. And eventually it just comes in with one Darkrai and tries to take a game with that.
Yeah, the Weavile can be very devastating. Claw Snag is really an underrated power. I mean, you can just take a card out of your opponent's hand. If there's just one supporter there, you can just completely cripple your opponent, and they'll never be able to set up. So that's kind of the goal of the Weavile.
So let's see. He's going to Ultra Ball here. Probably get a Smeargle. And yeah, he should be in good shape. Just depends on what's in Yamato's hand. We'll kind of get a little glimpse onto what Yamato's playing based on what we see.
Yeah. Now, David, there is a possibility he could get a turn 1 Night Spear here. I mean, it's not too likely, but it could happen.
Yeah, he would have to. He probably has to hit Juniper off this or something along those lines.
Yeah. So he's going to retreat to Smeargle. He does have one Dark in the discard pile. So it would just take a Dark Patch, then another, like a Junk Arm, and then he'll need a switch, and he'll be able to pull it off. It's going to be tough, though.
And I do see a Juniper in his hand. So
it's a Juniper and an N.
So David's going to get a huge choice here.
Yeah.
Let's see what he picks.
I would probably go for the Juniper. I mean, there's a Shaymin in his hand that could be useful later, but Juniper is going to give you the best shot to draw into a big turn 1 play. And yeah, just going to go for the Juniper.
I also like Juniper here also because it forces Yamato to use a supporter.
Right.
You know, Yamato's hand is really just draw a supporter.
Right. That's a very good point.
If he uses N here, then Yamato's hand maybe I can play a bunch of cards and now use a supporter.
There's a Dark Patch. Oh, okay. Yamato probably breathed in a sigh of relief. Survived. That's always such a scary turn when you just have one basic versus a Darkrai. Yeah. You never know when the turn 1 Night Spear is coming.
Yeah, so we do see Yamato kind of mulling his options over. What did he do here? I think he drew an Eviolite, so what would you do? Would you do Juniper and get rid of everything? Or just
I think first you would play the Random Receiver just to get that in your discard pile, and then you would probably just go ahead and use the N. That's way too much stuff to discard, I think.
It depends. You know, Random Receiver going in the discard, so he's doing that in here. It really Loss Remover. That's an interesting card.
This might be like a Hammer Time kind of deck.
Yeah. I was thinking with the Weavils and kind of similar to what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So he puts the Eviolite on Cecil, and that's cute. That's very cool because if he's playing what I think he's playing, he's probably on Super Scoop Up.
Probably.
And then he can just Super Scoop that Eviolite back into his hand and then put it onto a Darkrai.
Yeah, Weavile does work very well with Super Scoop Up. Oh my, no basics.
But he did hit Ultra Ball.
Oh, Ultra Ball. Oof. I was like, no, don't let this game end like this. But he's going to Ultra Ball. Let's see what he grabs. It might be a Darkrai.
So this is our first real chance at looking at this deck.
Yeah, could be anything in here.
I think it is. I think it's Hammer Time with Weavile, and depends if you... Oh, I saw DCE.
Maybe it's just Darkrai Mewtwo with a couple Weaviles in there.
Yeah, could be. It's actually a lot less gimmicky than I was hoping it was going to be.
Yeah, that Weavile deck, Jason Kozinski played that deck for a long time. That was actually the first deck he was playing when we got here in Hawaii, and it's just so not fun to play against, because it's just like Claw Snag, Crushing Hammer, It's like playing against Durant all over again, basically.
New Age Durant?
Yes,
yeah.
That's basically what it was. That's why he loved it so much. But it didn't work out, thankfully. And I didn't have to ever play against it again. And now, let's see if Yamato will be able to recover from this kind of a poor start. It'll all depend on whether or not David can Night Spear this turn.
Yeah, that would be huge. I did see a Max Potion while Yamato was flipping through his deck. So, you know, this damage can be healed through. It's still anyone's game, and even though he will be doing 70 to that Darkrai, you know, it's still 3 shots. So maybe Yamato can just be like, okay, I'll just Max Potion, no problem.
Yeah. And David played a switch. He hasn't attached yet this turn, so he's kind of contemplating what he should do here. All it takes is 1 energy, and he'll be able to use Night Spear this turn. But really, he needs an Eviolite on there too. Darkrai battles are really determined by Eviolite. If you don't have one, then it's 2 Night Spears to get knocked out. Otherwise, it's 3. So within the next 2 turns here, he's going to have to draw an Eviolite to protect that Darkrai.
Yeah. So we do see an end. It was kind of a shame for David that he looked really, really torn.
Yeah.
When flipping through his hand, and he's like, I really don't want to play this card. But I absolutely have to.
Yeah.
So.
It's too important to get the first Night Spear, I think. And not only the first Night Spear, but the first one hitting a Darkrai. If it was just on a Sneasel, that's not that big of a deal. It's just 1 prize. You still have to knock out 3 Darkrai's, but softening up this first Darkrai, that's going to be a big deal.
And the nice thing about the Darkrai Mewtwo deck is that it runs all basic darks, and then its only special energies are DCEs.
Yeah.
So your Darkrai will never get lost or anything. For the most part. Unless you decide to put a DCE on it. But Yamato's hand looks pretty good here. Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, it looks very good. He's got the Ultra Ball. He'll probably take another Darkrai, I would assume. He's got a Dark Patch in hand already. He had a Junk Arm too, but there's not enough cards to play all that stuff. But he does have an N.
Yeah, so it looks like he's just gonna, try to get a different Darkrai out.
Yeah.
Use the first one as a shield, and then, maybe go Max Potion.
Definitely. He also has a Shaymin in his hand, I believe. So he could get a Night Spear off this turn if he really wanted to.
Alright, so here's the Dark Patch. And I think we'll see a N.
Yeah, it depends how many resources he wants to use. Does he want to use the Shaymin to improve the odds of his Night Spear this turn? He actually retreats that other one, and yes, he will go ahead and do that. What do you think about that play?
I like it. I like it a lot. It frees up the Max Potion for his bench Darkrai. It gives him an out to go, okay, you Night Speared me first, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to Night Spear you and swing the tempo back in my favor.
Yeah, and also it gives him, it takes the energy off, so he can just be like, yep, Max Potion, and now I don't lose energy, and you wasted your Night Spear, basically.
Yep, and there's another Sneasel, and he did draw an energy, so there will be a Night Spear. And, as long as he just doesn't attach energy for a little bit onto the bench Darkrai, he can just let it sit with that much damage on it, and it'll be fairly safe.
Yeah, now the problem is this Darkrai does not have an Eviolite, so it's going to be 2 hits to knock that one out from Night Spear. If he doesn't draw an Eviolite next turn, that's going to be a lot of trouble for him, I think.
Okay, so we do see, and that's one of the key points in Darkrai Mirror is trying to keep your Darkrai's Eviolited.
Yeah.
So that bench Darkrai that David has just took 30, and it's only a few Night Spears away from just being in 2-shot range, maybe even a 1-shot range of Yamato's Darkrai's.
Right. I mean, Darkrai, I think it's probably the best attacker in the game. Night Spear does 90, that's pretty much enough to 2-hit anything, and then you get 30 to a bench Pokemon too. So even though it's an EX, it's made up for it by the fact that you can knock out 2 things at once a lot of the time. Now, if you play cards like Eviolite, that severely reduces how efficient Darkrai is, because the bench damage now it only does 10. Damage to the active only 70. That's not enough to really 2-hit knockout stuff. So if you can get Eviolites, or even cards like Potion and Max Potion, those are kind of the bane of Darkrai's existence.
Yeah, it's kind of like why Darkrai could never really take down that Quad Entei deck.
Yeah.
That deck has so much healing in it that eventually Darkrai just goes, okay, you win.
Yeah.
So a little bit of that strategy implemented into these decks here.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. When I first started playing with the Entei deck, I just kind of played it as a joke. And I was like, haha, Entei, this is like one of the worst EXs there is. And then after a while, I was like, when you get Eviolite on this and you keep playing a Moo Moo Milk, Darkrai doesn't knock it out. And I mean, also you're playing Moo Moo Milk, so it just sounds like a joke. But hey, it works out, and it turns out one of the most efficient counters to Darkrai is Entei.
Yeah, I mean, just having a lot of HP and healing cards. That's kind of why the Mewtwo Max Potion combo is so good versus Darkrai.
Yeah. I mean, I guess when you think about it, Entei is not really the thing that's good against Darkrai. It's just the healing and the Eviolites. It just happens to be Entei that can use that sort of stuff efficiently.
So I see Yamato Dark Patches on the Weavile. You think we'll see a beat up?
Beat up.
Yeah.
He's going all the way back to the year 2000. Back to Neo Genesis with that Sneasel. I doubt it. It's probably just a place to put energy for now. I don't think David's going to catch out a Sneasel. So maybe that's just maybe he plays 2 Shaymin.
Right.
And he'll be able to move it later.
I think he must play 2 Shaymin. If he's using Shaymin that liberally early on,
Yeah.
that to me as a player that indicates, okay, this guy is running 2 to 3 Shaymins. Otherwise, you would save it for like a crucial prize taking moment instead
Definitely.
of just going, I'm just going to Night Sphere you. So definitely more than 1 Shaymin in his deck.
Yeah, I mean, when I play 1 Shaymin in my decks, I will do whatever it takes to not discard that card because I know how useful it is. I mean, just to rearrange all of your energy is so big. I mean, most of the time you only get 1 attachment a turn, maybe you'll get Dark Patches, but to be able to just drop a Pokemon and then rearrange all of your energy and power up 1 out of nowhere is such a powerful thing to have at your disposal.
So we do see Yamato kind of like mulling over his options. Let's see. I think you can just go Night Spear here and be pretty safe. He does have a Lost Remover in his hand, I believe. So he's going to be pretty safe from Mewtwo. But, Mewtwo Shaymin out of nowhere is very strong.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest benefactor of Shaymin is Mewtwo. I mean, if you can just get all of your energy and shift it over to a Mewtwo, that X-Ball starts to add up fast. I mean, it's 20 times the number of energy attached to both Pokemon. So the biggest combo with Shaymin has been Mewtwo, but, I mean, it has other uses too.
Yeah, it helped. I think the Mewtwo Shaymin deck or Mewtwo Shaymin Darkrai deck has a lot of synergy going on with it, with the energy placements.
Right.
You can move energies off damage guy, put it into a fresh one, Max Potion, and now you have a clean board, and you're attacking for a lot of damage. So it's very strong, and we see Yamato again go for the bench Darkrai.
Yeah. Now that was a big miss for him. He didn't get an Eviolite on his Darkrai, so David's going to be able to Night Spear and knock that out. So really, you got to think David's at an advantage here. The bench Darkrai for Yamato has damage on it already. I mean, he's just going to be behind a couple prizes here, and if David can keep powering up Darkrai's, he's going to be way ahead in this match.
I think Yamato might be playing for maybe a big Mewtwo hit. Just the way he's spreading out his energies, he's at least playing for Shaymin.
Yeah.
Maybe he's going to drop another Darkrai and go, hey, you still haven't Eviolited that bench Darkrai, Night Spear.
Yeah, the problem for him is his hand was not very good. I think he had just had a bunch of energies and then a junk arm. So he doesn't have any options to work with right now. He does have that random receiver that he can junk arm for, but other than that, I didn't see anything in his hand.
Did he get rid of the Weavile? Yeah, he did. So
Poor Weavile.
Yeah. His hand is really just energy cards and Lost Remover. So as long as David doesn't play down any double colorless energies, he'll be pretty good. And he discards a Mewtwo, just going, hey, I don't need this card anymore.
Yeah.
Ooh, do you see the card he's looking for? Shaymin.
There we go. What is this energy going to get moved to, though?
That fresh Darkrai he just played down, for sure.
Okay. So that'll be big. He needs an Eviolite on that new one, though. That card really does define this matchup, huh? Just Eviolite.
Yeah. It's very important. And I believe Yuta Matsuda played a Tropical Tidal Wave just to combat Eviolites. So that's how important that card is in this matchup.
I mean, we had Ben Potter and Drew Holton commentating on that match, and when Yuta dropped the Tropical Tidal Wave, they were both like, I've never seen that card before, I don't know what it is. And then his opponent discarded all the Eviolites from his field, and they're like, oh, Tropical Tidal Wave. So, very clever usage of an underplayed card that really most people didn't even know was legal.
So I like his energy. He moves the energy off the damaged Darkrais. Maybe if he... I don't know if I would want to keep the energy on the Eviolated Darkrai.
Yeah, that was weird.
I would have probably retreated first and then move energies around. Maybe even put energy on the Smeargle because Sky Arrow is still not in play.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. We've seen a lot of people just start using Smeargle more and more. And then originally, everyone included Sky Arrow in their deck because it combos so well with Smeargle. I mean, you get the free retreat, you get the portrait. How great is that? But as time has gone on, people have been like, man, everyone plays Sky Arrow, so maybe I'll just take mine out because my opponent's going to play it anyway. But then it gets to a point where you have both people thinking that same thing. They're like, oh, now nobody has Sky Arrow. Now I can't really use portrait anymore.
Yeah, I ran into that situation against Harrison.
Yeah.
I still played Sky Arrow, but I cut it down to 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, as long as he plays Sky Arrow, I'm good to go. And he doesn't even play that card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny, the kind of mind games that happen all because of Smeargle mainly, which has become the most popular card in the format, I think.
So we do have another result of a game just finished. We'll find that result pretty shortly.
I believe Jason, we were signaled that actually looks like Yuta Komatsuda, has he won?
He looks pretty happy, so I'm just going to go with yes until told otherwise.
Okay, well, he will advance to our top 4 then. He'll be the first person to do so.
2 Peter on top 4.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less. He is clearly one of the best players in the world. I mean, he had a top 8 finish this year as well. So, I mean, I can't say enough about him. He is just a magnificent player.
So, yeah, we did confirm that Yuta had won, and, so it's Yamato's turn, right? So, what would you do here if you're him?
Well, I definitely wouldn't use Claw Swipes, or whatever the first attack on Sneasel is. Fury Swipes.
Fury Swipe?
Yeah. But
Ooh, Claw Snag.
Oh,
yeah.
We're finally seeing it. And
there's a Max Potion.
There's a Juniper and a Junk Arm as well.
This is so tough.
You might have to just go for the Juniper, try to take away David's draw.
He's just checking for a random receiver, which David has played. So I don't think hitting the Juniper is the right play. I think maybe...
This is the problem you run into with Weavile.
Yeah.
If it gets to this point in the game, there are just so many cards that your opponent can use to refill their hand. I mean, you see right there, you have Juniper. You would like to get rid of that, but then he just Junk Arms and gets a random receiver. You would like to take the Junk Arm, but then he just Junipers and draws a new 7 cards. So there's really no option, and you really need 2 Weaviles sometimes to take away all of your opponent's options.
I do like hitting the Juniper, though.
Yeah,
what that does, it forces... he goes, okay, you're going to get a supporter,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm at least going to make you waste your random receiver
Right.
and take another supporter out of your deck. So maybe in the future, I can nail you on it.
And maybe it's an N, which gets him a new hand. Who knows? Or in this case, he probably would want an N because he's taken 2 prizes. But in another situation, you could force your opponent to random receiver and maybe get an N, and that would force them to give you a new hand.
So we do see... Oh, there's a Mewtwo, too.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
The wars have begun.
Not yet. It's not a war yet.
There's a Shaymin in his hand.
It's just a cold war right now. No one's taking a shot.
It's beginning. It's full art, too, so he means business.
I actually like the regular art one better.
I like the full art. It just screams that he's asserting his dominance.
But the regular art one's more like, hey, I'm about to hit you with a big X-Ball. So anyways, we do see a Dark Patch, and here comes the Night Spear.
Okay, so no Mewtwo's yet. I got a little overeager. I've seen about 15 X-Balls today in all of our matches that we recorded, so I just assume that's what people do nowadays. But it looks like we're going to have a Night Spear, and Yamato, he's just fine in this game. You know, he could still have Max Potion and heal his stuff.
Yeah, really higher class of player. A lot of people just kind of run in there with Mewtwo and just go, all right, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And Yamato, he's like, okay, I know you play N, so I have to get this Mewtwo down so you don't destroy me with your Mewtwo.
Mm-hmm.
but I'm going to make it so it's going to be very difficult to knock this one out.
Yeah. Now, David, he could pull something like that off with a Shaymin and catch out Mewtwo would take 5 energy to do that, and that would leave him vulnerable to another Mewtwo. This is just kind of the downward slope that Mewtwo causes. You power one up to knock one out, and then it's all downhill from there. It just turns into X-Ball back and forth, but we'll see if he decides to keep it clean with just experience.
So, what do you think? Under, over on X-Balls? Where do you think it's going to be?
In this game?
Yeah.
It'll be like 2 at the most. I think we'll see.
2? All right. I'll go over.
All right. I don't think you'll go much over, but
no.
I can
I'm
see
thinking
3.
I'm thinking like 3, 4.
Yeah.
4 max. Like 4 is like ridiculous, but
I think we'll end up with 2. We'll see.
So, this is such a tough decision. Like, you don't really have that many energy on the field.
Yeah.
So
we do have a junk arm from David.
He's just kind of debating on what to get here. He's kind of torn. You can get the Eviolite, that's good, or you can get the potion. So he gets the potion. I kind of like the Eviolite here more.
Yeah, me too.
Simply because you're going to take at least 2 hits. Mm-hmm. So that's effective, like blocking 40, where you're only healing 30 with. Oh, well, looks like he just gets the best of both worlds.
I was going to say, maybe he knew that he had more Eviolites left in his deck. He might only play like 1 potion, so he's just going to junk arm for the card he only has 1 copy of. And if you're going to Juniper, maybe you'll hit the Eviolite anyway. Which is exactly what happened.
David's in good shape here.
However,
However, there is 7 energy on the field total, or at least that X-Ball can use. Maybe a Dark Patch and a DCE.
Mm-hmm.
That'll do a lot of damage. He would need 2+ powers for that, though. So, like, double Dark Patch.
He would need way too many cards to pull off an X-Ball this turn, I think.
It's actually doable with 2 Dark Patches. 2 Dark Patch, DCE, Shaymin.
That's a lot of stuff to have. Especially this late in the game where you've used some junk arms and some dark patches already. You would really have to have your last copies, but hey, there's 2 dark patches in his hand.
Boom. Yep. What were you saying?
I've never seen a Weavile with 3 energy.
Well, yeah. Oh, there's a Shaymin. What were you saying, Kyle?
Hey, we're not there yet.
There we go. I almost forgot that one.
He still needs the double colorless, all right?
Hey, whenever you commit with X-Ball like this, Mewtwo just goes, okay, DCE, you're going up top.
He channels the DCE to the top of the deck every time.
I can't, recall many instances where this misses.
Except for this one.
Ooh, almost.
Wow, that is a really big deal, actually. He can junk arm for catcher and knock out that bench Darkrai. It does not have Eviolite, or can he?
He can.
That'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 140. He would need to attach and junk arm.
He has the attach, so that's fine.
He would have to play his hand down completely,
he gets 2 cards off it, so maybe he's just assessing the risk and going, okay, it's worth it.
Yeah, and I think he has assessed that it is worth it. He's just going to go right for that Darkrai. And he's going to show, okay, I do have a catcher in there. I'm glad he does that. There's been times where you junk arm and the thing that you wanted isn't actually there.
Yeah,
I've seen that happen.
Yeah, after so many you play so many games, you prepare so hard, and then they start blending together.
Yeah, it really does. So now it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Mewtwo, he is the attacker that defines this format. Mewtwo alone makes decks playable or not playable. All these lock decks, like the Truth, they were so popular before, and then Mewtwo came out and it was like, oh, I can't really stop a card that just knocks me out anyway. I can't move damage around when he's just X-balling me for 1-hit knockouts. And I always think it's ironic that Mewtwo is so strong in this situation. He can knock out any Pokemon. And then all it takes is another Mewtwo and 2 energy to take him out.
This is going to be the make or break turn for David.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to have to hit the hit the Mewtwo here with X-Ball. There's no real way around it.
Right.
However, those 2 cards Yamato has, if he has a supporter and gets another Mewtwo with like a DCE and
there's the Mewtwo DCE.
There it is.
Oh boy.
It just comes. Is that Miracle and DCE in Yamato's hand?
Yeah, I mean that has to be devastating for him. If David whiffed that turn, I think Yamato had this game in the bag pretty much.
I think it depends on how many Shaymins Yamato runs. If he runs 3, then there's still an out. Like, say Yamato draws Mewtwo. Well, with Spherical DC Mewtwo, you have these.
Could be plus power too.
You have the Weavile. You send it up, and then you go drop Shaymin, drop Mewtwo, DCE, retreat, portrait, and just hope for the best.
Yeah, I mean that's really all he can do at this point. Unfortunate situation for him, but this is how fragile Mewtwo is. He really just puts the game on a clock. Once you get him with this much energy, he's knocking everything out.
Yeah.
And it's just up to your opponent to say, all right, I have my own Mewtwo, because if I didn't, I would just lose.
Yeah, it's really a glass cannon.
Yeah.
And
it's the definition of the glass cannon, yeah.
when you look it up on the dictionary, you just see a picture of
It's
Mewtwo.
just a Mewtwo, yeah. Oh, man. Now we do see an N from David. That's an interesting choice. I don't know how many cards he had in his hand, but it's usually a good idea to play it before you're about to go down to 1 prize, so you never have that in your hand again. And especially because Yamato had the Spearow in his hand, that could have caused an interesting situation.
Well, now I wonder what Yamato drew. It's really going to come down to that.
Yeah.
He has to send up the Weavile here.
Yeah, he really needs like a Juniper to have a shot at this. Otherwise, it would have to be a perfect 3 cards, like Mewtwo, double colorless, plus power. So if he didn't draw a supporter here, he needs to top deck 1 here.
All right, so we may get a glimpse of what he has. I see a Max Potion.
Wow,
Mewtwo DCE.
he's 1 card short. Are you kidding me?
Is that Max Potion?
Yeah.
That's huge. He can kind of sit here for a little bit.
I mean, he can. Oh man, he's actually 1 card short, just winning the game.
Oh, he plays it down. Oh, Juniper.
What?
Oh, that was a Juniper.
That's
so good.
Incredible. Yeah. I
He's
wish
so
I could
good.
do that. He needs a plus power to win. There's a junk arm.
Does he have plus power?
I don't know.
Ooh, here we go.
Yeah, I don't actually know if he plays plus power. Has he used? There's
a loss remover. Oh, okay. That's cool.
Another way to go about it.
And he has a Max Potion. And a DCE in his hand. His hand is loaded.
Yeah, look at that. So, the game's never over when Yamato's involved.
Oh, and he's just going in there.
He's just saying, what's up, man? I got a Mewtwo. He didn't play the Max Potion. I don't think it matters, though. If David has a catcher, he wins regardless.
Yeah.
Petra and an energy, actually. But if he can't move his Mewtwo, uh-oh.
There's the energy for the moving Mewtwo.
Yeah. He can retreat
And
now.
there's catcher.
There's the catcher. And wow, David Cohen.
2-0.
2-0. Defeats Tsuguyoshi Yamato. He will advance to the top 4 here at the Top Cut Invitational.
Yeah. We do have a report on Jason Klisinski's match. He has been eliminated from the tournament.
Yeah.
So, a quick 0-2 for our former Invitational champion.
Really, Jason lost.
Yes.
Wow, that's very surprising to see our champion, especially Jason, who is such a great player, go out like that. We confirm that, really? I'm still having a hard time believing that.
So it looks like Sammy is also out. So the final.
Jason win? That's a win? Okay, so yeah, we have Jason has been eliminated, and looks like Sammy has been eliminated as well. So our top 2 finishers from last year are out of the tournament.
Just eliminated right away.
Well, Jason's saying he threw away 2 games. Sammy has been eliminated as well. Personally, I can't believe this. These 2 guys are like mainstays in the community. They are just world-class competitors. Jason Klisinski, Sammy Sukum, both out 0-2. That's just kind of a testament to the high caliber of these players.
So we are going to see Yamato versus Tom, and we're going to see John Roberts versus Asa.